To create your weekly assessment in Journeys, visit Big Central and click on Browse. This video will show you how you can create separate assessments for comprehension, vocabulary, and any other portions of the test, rather than have them be one large test. From Browse, find the item you wish to assess in. In this case, we'll focus on Journeys, and we're going to go to Program Structure. Let's focus on Unit 2, Lesson 9. And let's look at Day 5. Day 5 is where all your assessments will live. Click on Assessment, and here you can see the weekly test, Lesson 9. From here, click Assign. A new tab will open for you to create the assignment. Give the assignment a name. Now I'm naming it Vocabulary Test because I'm going to show you how you can differentiate between the vocabulary test, the reading comprehension test, as well as any other additional test that might be part of the assessment piece. Select your class. Going to add all your students. You can set your available date and your end date. And here's where you can select the questions. Click Select Questions. A new window will pop up. Now, this particular test has 3 sections: vocabulary, comprehension, and phonics. I want to complete all 3 of those assessments as individual tests. Since I named this test vocabulary, I'm going to uncheck comprehension and uncheck phonics. This will allow me to have just this section on my test. I can also look at each individual question to determine if I want all 10 questions on my test. So if it's the beginning of the year and I only want my first graders to just have a few questions, I can look at each one and determine if it is one that I want on my test. If I do not want this on my test, I simply click the checkbox and it will be removed from my test. I can work my way through the 10 questions and determine which ones will be on my test. Once I've determined which questions are going to be on my test, I come to the bottom and I click Save. You can see here this now says 1 of 3 sections included, which means the vocabulary is set. And I click Save. At the top, click OK. You can see the assessment is now listed here. I would return to this tab and click Assign again to create the comprehension portion of my test. This will open up the assignment window. I can actually click on Dr. Seuss Vocabulary Test, double-click on Vocabulary, and just change it to Comprehension. You can add additional student instructions here. Again, select your class, add all your students, and select questions. When the window pops up, we're going to uncheck Vocabulary, keep Comprehension checked, and uncheck Phonics. Again, you can go through and choose which questions you want to have on your assessment. If you have essay questions, you will have to score those individually. It is up to you whether you want to keep them or remove them. For the sake of this video, I am going to remove one and just keep one on there so you can learn how to score it when students have submitted their test. Again, I scroll down and click Save. 1 of 3 sections included, and click Save, and click OK. And then for the third test, I return back here to this tab, click Assign, and in this case, Lesson 9 Comprehension, double click, change it to Phonics. Again, add instructions, select the class, add the students, select questions, and since this is Phonics, I'm going to turn off Vocabulary and Comprehension and keep Phonics as is, and click Save. 1 of 3 sections is included, click Save, click OK. Here you can see we have the 3 different tests: the comprehension, the phonics, and the vocabulary. In this area, you can turn off the ability for students to see the answers to the test simply by toggling between yes and no. I'm going to turn it off for phonics but keep it on for vocabulary because I will show you the student view when the student takes the test, what this will look like. So this test is now ready for students to take in the student portal. Let's show you what that looks like. When a student logs into Things Central, this is their starting page. They would click on Things to Do. They need to scroll through, and here you can see comprehension, phonics, and vocabulary. I'm going to start with the phonics test. They would click on the test. A new window will open, giving them some instructions, and they click Start Test. Here, students will have 10 questions. This speaker will read the question to them.
Choose the best word to name the picture.
And clicking here will read the responses.
Slap, spill, stop.
Students would click Next to get to the next question. If they want to change their response, they can simply click a different response, or they can clear their answer. And they would continue through the exam. Once they've reached the end of the test, they have a few options here. They can go to different questions to review. They can review the test. They see that all the questions have been answered, which means they can go back to any of the questions to review them. Click and go. They can also pause their test, and they'll be able to resume and finish it later. When they are on number 10, they can click Score Test. It does tell you that you skipped a question if they skipped a question. So they can go back to that and put in their response. And then click Review Test, at which point they can score the test. In addition, when they are on number 10, if they have answered all the questions and they click Score Test, this will tell them that all questions have been answered, and they click Score Test one more time. Click OK. Here the students will see their score, and they will see which one they got incorrect. Students cannot see the correct answers on this test because I set it up so they could not see the answers. Now you can see the status is completed. For the vocabulary test, I did allow students to see the answers. So let's show that. Once all questions have been answered, Score Test, click OK. And since on this test I've allowed students to see the responses, they can expand these to see the correct answers. Back on the teacher side, you can see that you now have some more information. For example, on the vocabulary test, we do have some results, as well as how many students have finished. If you click here, you will be able to see student scores. If you click on the student score, a new window will open, and you'll be able to see more specifics about which questions student got incorrect. By expanding, you can see what the student response was, as well as what the correct answer was. For the reading comprehension test, when the students get to the essay question, which in this case I believe is number 6, once students type in their response, they can also score the test and submit it. The student will see this is not scored. So because it's an essay, they will not have a total score. Back on the teacher side, you will see again, one student has completed, and if you go to Results and Prescriptions, you can click on this student and enter scores. Once you click on the student name, you would click Score. Here you will see the student's response, at which point you can provide a score. You can also provide a comment and click Save. The student score has now been recorded. You can then check this to return to the student. And that's how you can assign and grade assessments in Journeys.